If you offer one service, but multiple versions of that service, try and sell the most expensive one. If you offer multiple services, try and sell the complementary service. There's never a reason to leave money on the table.
Welcome to Jobbers Masters of Home Service, a podcast for home service pros by home service pros. We are in sunny Las Vegas, and today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, upselling, changing a $500 quote into a $2,000 job. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester. I have Christine Hodge with me today. She is the CEO of Clearview Washing in New Jersey. And Christine, this is one of my favorite topics. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So this is one of your favorite things to talk about, upselling, making a small, I just want like a small little job into a big job, right? And so let's get into it a little bit. Why is it important for our listeners to be thinking through upselling just in general?
It is a mindset, something you have to train your team. It has to become the culture of your company. If you offer one service, but multiple versions of that service, try and sell the most expensive one. If you offer multiple services, try and sell the complementary service. There's never a reason to leave money on the table. Usually the reason that money is left on the table and you're unable to upsell or cross-sell is because you are not educating the client. In our case, a client might not even know that a roof can be washed. And we have to educate them. Along with your gutter cleaning, would you like us to take a look at your roof? It looks like it hasn't been cleaned in a long time. So that just has to be the mindset of everyone on your team.
A lot of our listeners, I think, have this mentality, because you mentioned mindset, that they go in, the client said they just wanted us to cut the grass. And so if I offer them anything other than that, then that's salesy and that's bad. And that's, that's what the other guys do. And I don't like those other guys. And I think that's ridiculous. I think you think that too. And so I do want to change the minds a little bit of our listeners. So when you have a client call in and say they just want you to come wash the windows, what do you do from that point on to try to make that $500 phone call into a much bigger job?
So maybe the client really does just want to get their lawn cut this time, or maybe they do just want to get their windows washed this time. But you have to educate them on everything else that you do, and then you have to offer them pricing for everything that you do. So when a customer calls in just for a window wash, they are getting priced everything that we can clean on their house. They're getting a fence cleaning estimate. They're getting a driveway cleaning estimate, patios, decks, walkways, house wash, roof cleaning. We're quoting everything. There are two reasons. The customer might not realize that it's dirty, and after they see the price and they're like, oh, this is reasonable, or maybe it's not reasonable to them, but they take a look at their roof and they're like, wow, my roof really does need a wash. You're bringing it to their attention. That's number one. And number two, why do you want to quote the project twice? Maybe right now they do want a window wash, but you now have all the stats on the home, all of the details, and you can just go ahead and send them a revised proposal based on the current stats in 6 months when they call you for another service like a gutter cleaning. For us, it serves those two purposes. It's educating the client on the other services that we do, whether they ask for it or not, and making sure that we've done all of the legwork, and now it would be easy. The customer can call in 6 months and say, now I'm ready to get my house washed, and we don't even have to send them to a sales rep. We can just have our admin resend them the estimate that they received.
Yeah, and they may not approve it, but they will never approve it if you don't give them the option. Yep. There's a reason that servers at restaurants ask you, would you like dessert tonight?
Yep.
8 out of 10 people say no, and 2 say yes, and they got those 2 sales. And so when we have clients who say they just want this, the other thing I think matters is if you don't give them all the options, and you go to their house and you do a little job, and then 3 weeks later they're talking to their friend, they're like, well, they didn't give me any of those options. Yep. My friends are plumbers, and they came to my house. They had to replace my hot water heater, and I signed. They moved on. My mom, a couple of days later, asked me if they offered me tankless water heater option, and I said, I don't even know what that is. So I call my buddies and say, hey, why don't you guys give me the tankless water heater option? And they said, I don't know, because they're awesome operations guys, but they're not as strong as on sales, on the opposite. So I was like, guys, that's not your decision to make. It's my decision. You should have given me the option. Well, it's more expensive, so. It's my decision. Don't make that decision for me.
Right. And at that point, like he told you it's more expensive, but he left money on the table because he could have also educated you as to the value of spending the money. So I don't know how water heaters work, but what if it lasts another 20 years? Or what if it reduces the risk of leaks, or I don't know, whatever the case may be. That's also a way to show the value that your company can provide to the client.
Right, 100%. More information, generally speaking, is better.
Yeah.
And so if you go in there, you're just so pigeonholed when you only offer them the one service. Now, I think you are ethically obligated to give them the option that they called for. So if they just want Windows, then you should make that option clear, obvious, and very easy to choose.
Right.
But our listeners, if they're not doing this now, they'll be amazed at the conversations that are started by offering these additional things.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
okay, so client calls in to Clearview, and they said they want window cleaning. How do you guys process that phone call? I'm curious, how do you guys go about that? Do you book an appointment? Do you book the job? How do you go about that? And how do you sprinkle in the upsells?
So if somebody calls for a window wash, we, by process, anyone who takes the call says, are there any other services or problem areas you'd like us to look at? And we make sure that we list out the service that they're interested in, any other areas they'd like us to look at. We prompt our sales team to quote those services as the services that are requested, and then they are required to add upsell services. So I will not accept, like part of their KPIs is if someone calls for a window wash and you only offer a window wash, it's trouble.
That's
like
bad.
that's unacceptable.
The wrath of Christine will be upon you.
Yeah, I'm coming for you. And in addition to that, we offer bundle pricing. So the service that they requested, but if you add on, I mean, we can dive really deep into this as to how the bundles are structured, but they're very structured where if they asked for a window washing, we'll try to upsell them on something very minimal, like a front walkway, like a $99 upsell, or a trash bin cleaning, 2 trash bins for $49. Just that alone, you're getting the upsell. And then in another bundle, we would do, more services. So that very small upsell and then something a little bigger. See if we can get another couple $100, you know? And then the last upsell is like everything that we priced on your home. It's a luxury bundle. So we're also very strategic because you don't want to go into your upsell with a very expensive product or service. So if someone has $1,000 house wash, we're not going to bundle that with a $1,500 roof cleaning because that's too intimidating of an upsell. So your initial upsell should be minimal because if you take, we service on average 1,000 clients a year. If 25% of them get trash bin cleaning, it's something like $40,000. So just with a minimal $49 upsell for a percentage of your clients is going to offer great revenue for your company. So look at it that way. Your first upsell should be very minimal and not intimidating.
Yeah. I like to look at it this way. The profit of a company is often found in the upsell and not in the basic service. And so I think our listeners need to realize that when they're talking about growing their company and growing the revenue if they want to, it's in the upsell. It's there. Yeah, a lot of I'm thinking about HVAC, for example. HVAC will send a guy in for a $99 tune-up. They don't make any money on the tune-up. They get money on the $10,000 HVAC system the guy sells when he gets there. Yep. Oil change companies, $19.99 oil change, and then you somehow come out spending $100. How'd that happen? They upsold you. We're no different. We need to be doing that. So client calls in, they talk to you about window cleaning. If is there a threshold at which that you'll just book it over the phone versus like schedule an appointment?
Yes, everything is sent to the sales department. However, any homes over 3,000 square feet, we try and make in-person appointments with. That's with a very experienced sales rep so that we can still have the handshake experience. We kind of consider a luxury client, things of that nature. They get a folder, stuff like that. Anything smaller than 3,000 square feet, it's going to be a remote estimate. And we do a walk around of the property using Google Earth and, Zillow and online resources to the best of our extent. There are times where you try and do a walk around of a house remotely to count the windows and it's not possible. It's not visible and you may need to make a visit.
My buddy Corey, he's a Jobber user out in Vancouver. He has the client, if they want to do this, he has them just get on Zoom or FaceTime and they'll walk around the house with them. He's an electrician, so they'll show him the broken, electrical thing, and he'll give him a quote over the phone. I was like, Corey, that works? He goes, oh, clients love it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can tackle this beast. Sometimes you have to be in person, but the point is that he's still upselling too. You don't just give up upselling just because you booked the call for a smaller house, in your case, 3,000 square feet or less. You can still upsell over the phone. And I don't know if you guys do this, but the technicians could still point things out when they get there to upsell later, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the benefit of a technician pointing it out, kind of like creating brand awareness by people seeing your brand everywhere, is if the technician points it out and the sales rep had it on the estimate, a few days prior, it's like really generating awareness. Like, 2 people at this company recommended that I get my roof washed. Maybe this is something I should look into. So it's kind of reminding them.
Yeah. Okay. So when you get to the job site, let's talk about, because I think upselling is the catch-all term, kind of like the general term, but there is upselling and cross-selling. Why don't you explain the differences there and how it relates to what we're talking about?
Sure. You should be doing both. Cross-selling is if you offer a service. So for example, soft washing the house. What's another service that you offer that complements the soft wash? So for us, it would be window washing. Because once we soft wash your home, you might want a window cleaning. Those two go hand in hand. If someone is looking for a roof cleaning, our cross-sell is gutter cleaning. Your gutters should be cleaned if we're washing your roof because we need them to flow properly. So that's cross-selling. Upselling is taking the service that they requested, so outside window washing only, and essentially convincing them as to why they should get the in and out window washing, which is a higher sale for you. What's another example? Walkway cleaning. We have an upsell for that. You can get the basic, which is the front walkway and the front porch. You can get a deluxe walkway cleaning. That's how we titled it. And that's all the walkways on your property, walkways and porches. Or you can get a premium. That's all the walkways on your properties and the front sidewalk if you have a sidewalk running along the street. So most people don't think to clean their own sidewalk. Maybe they think it's not theirs. It's the township's responsibility or whatever the case may be. But our walkway gets cleaned every year, and it's like it got a tooth whitening. Like all of the other walkways in our neighborhood are black almost, and ours is so nice because we maintain it. But again, a customer wouldn't think about that until you offer it to them.
Most upsells, I find, generally speaking, are things that people don't call you initially about.
Correct.
So like a lot of the upsells that my company does with gutters is, we put these strainers in the downspouts. No one calls for those, but we install them in almost like half of our homes because they're so important. But no one calls for strainers. They call for gutter cleaning. Yeah. Todd, one of my main guys, he called me last week. I've got a new upsell. I've got a new service we can provide. And it was a good one. And so he's always thinking about new ways to make money. And he knows that I'm against getting outside of our lane and spreading ourselves too thin, all that kind of stuff. But man, if you're there, let's add a couple $100 to the ticket with these really simple upsells. And so I would say, like with cross-selling, upselling, cross-selling would be like if you do Christmas lights, okay, we'll do the house, but do you want a wreath or do you want all the trees done in the yard? That'd be a cross-sell. But if do you want just more lights in general? That'd be an upsell. I think that there's all kinds of ways that you like. The tankless water heater would have been a great upsell. Yeah, because it's the same thing, just better version of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And your company should be doing both at all times. Like that's even a good way of thinking. If you don't offer a certain service and you're listening to this podcast, you can even think to yourself, what is a complimentary service? Like if I'm already cleaning out gutters, what is a small add-on that's a minimal upcharge, and you multiply that by a portion of the clients I'm going to service this year, that could potentially generate another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for us. Like when you look at it that way, just a small upsell in whatever you're providing.
So easy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One thing I like to do with clients, especially in person, is if we're walking around their house, we're talking about gutters and stuff, and I say, hey, well, that downspout's loose and it needs to be replaced. Well, how much would that be? You know what I don't do? Oh, well, let me run back to my van, stop this conversation, get my iPad out, my calculator, do all the math, and then I'll come tell you the price. Yeah. That's a nonsense. What? That's crazy. But people do that all the time. Well, I don't know the exact price. No, just say, it's like $300 or $400. Yeah. Okay, great. If they say, oh, well, that's too much, then you just saved yourself some time because you don't have to go do all the math. But if they, $400, I'll definitely do that. Then you go, okay, well, let me go get an actual price. I'll come back later and circle back around. But that's how you bracket. You're just having a conversation with people. You don't have to get all tense when you talk about money, but hey, this and that, oh, how much that can be? Roof wash about $1,000 on average in your neighborhood. You can be off by quite a bit. But if you just want to keep the conversation, oh, $1,000? Okay, well, yeah, I can do that. Sometimes people will even say like, well, if it's actually 1,000, that's too much for me. But if it's like 800, I could probably do that. Now that you're getting a little bit of salesmanship there, but I do think that if you bracket yourself and you just keep the conversation going and flowing in a fluid, casual manner, it's so much more conducive for upselling because you're not making it all about price. You're like, oh, well, yeah, and it makes you look professional because you've been doing this for a long time. You can just kind of ballpark. But would you say your technicians, would you say most of your technicians would be able to give like ballpark pricing for that kind of stuff?
We actually have a policy where we don't put it on the technicians. So I want that to take place from the sales department because our calendar is scheduled from the office. So I want everyone to stay on schedule. So we have our technicians offer recommendations, but it's still pricing should come from the sales department. And that's why for us, the benefit of the recommendation is it's something the client has already seen because it was on their estimate as well. They just didn't select it.
Okay.
So it'll make them think, oh, then you know what? Maybe I really should schedule this roof cleaning. Two people at that company mentioned it. But we really put it on the office and on the sales department to encourage the upsell and the cross-sell.
Yeah, definitely. We do have slightly different business models because a lot of our technicians do a lot of the upselling. And so that's a different way of doing it. But all your salespeople handle all the sales. That makes sense. And then your technicians just do work. Just fulfill. Christine, we could talk about this all day, upselling and all that kind of stuff. Let's take a break here and talk about why we like Jobber so much. How has Jobber helped you win new business?
Well, most recently, the new marketing feature, the email campaigns have been huge. We recently did a campaign for clients that we have not serviced in 2 years. And we had such a large return on that, probably about 40 to 50 leads within the first hour. So that was a huge win for us, huge fan.
That's awesome. Yeah, the marketing tools are fantastic. I personally like the optional line items. I like being able to have an anchor item. Hey, we're going to wash your house. And then having all these optional line items that they can either choose or not choose. And obviously it automatically tallies at the bottom. And it's a very intuitive way that Jobber has created to make quotes dynamic. And so you can turn a $500 job into a $2,000 quote.
Right.
You need to try Jobber as well. New users can go to jobber.com/podcast deal for an exclusive discount and start upselling today. I mean, do you ever see a downtick in quality because of upselling and cross-selling? I mean, I don't see why you would.
No, not
There's
at
no
all.
downside.
I mean, there's no downside. Again, our scheduling is based on pricing. We know the anticipated amount of time that each service takes. We are pretty deep in our numbers, and so we actually know what each crew can produce as well. So during scheduling, like we would know that this crew can get a roof cleaning and a soft wash done faster than this crew, but this crew can do window washing faster than that crew. So in terms of that, there's no issue. As long as they select what they want on the estimate, they're going to be allocated the right amount of time to get the job done.
Yeah. So I think our listeners, if they're trying to beef up their game on this whole upselling thing, they need to just sit down at their table one day and think, okay, I'm going to write down every single possible thing we could upsell. Just free flow. Don't say, oh, that's a bad one. Just write them all down. And then talk to your team and decide like, okay, what are we really going to tackle here? What are the most profitable ones? Yeah. What are the easiest ones? Because we want to make it easy for the client to say yes. That's really important. Don't you agree?
I completely agree. And what's something to the client that's not going to feel intimidating? What is just something you can throw in there? You know, a light fixture, the 2 light fixtures on the outside of the front door. You can, if you do a soft wash, you can make an upsell right there. We don't even have this as an upsell, but I might add it. But you can, not an upsell, a cross sell, but you can say for an additional $34, we're going to just wipe down these 2 fixtures after we clean them to make sure that the glass is, clear or whatever the case may be. That's a really good cross sell. And then you multiply that by a portion of your customers per year. Over the next 5 years, you might generate $100,000 in wiping the glass from the light fixture after a soft wash. Yeah. So when you start to look at it that way, you can choose really small, minimal things to get the customer to engage in more services with you.
In the beginning, you mentioned mindset, Christine. And I think that a lot of people have had this experience. They go in to buy a car and I'm not going to spend $1 more than $10,000 for a car. And they get there and then they realize what $10,000 will get them. And then the salesman, if he's good, says, well, this car over here has the leather seats, has the sunroof. It's only $14,000. How many times he was, well, suddenly I can spend 14, but you said you weren't going to spend more than 10. That happens every day. And we should be no different. I think that the mindset is we are serving the client by giving them all the options and letting them choose. We're serving the client by giving them information about things that they didn't even know about existed. Oh, you guys do Christmas lights in the winter? I had no idea you guys did Christmas lights. All those kinds of things. What you don't want is for a client to say, for you to find out that a client hired, somebody else, your competitor, to do the very thing that you do because they didn't know you did it. That's the worst.
Correct.
That's the worst.
Yep.
Okay, so how do you avoid being pushy? How do you avoid being salesy? All that kind of stuff. How do you avoid just the sting, or the perceived sting, I should say, about that? What do you think?
That's a great question. I despise salesy. Like, I don't like dealing with the car salesman. My husband jokes about this, but any car that we've ever purchased, I've done my entire negotiation through email before I've even driven the car, because I don't want to talk to them until I know what I'm going to get for the money. Anyway, the point of that is I don't like salesy. So we don't take that approach at all. And we let our technology do the sale for us. We're just doing the educating part. We are going to upsell and cross-sell through our quote. We're going to include everything that's possible. And the sales rep, if they are not in person doing a consultation with the client and educating them on the spot, we do a phone consultation. So before the quote goes out, we would actually contact the client and say, we just did a walk around of your house on Google Earth. These are a few things that we noticed that should be cleaned. These are some things that we offer, whatever. And then if we don't reach them by phone, we still want to get the quotes out pretty quickly. Some people just don't want to talk to anybody.
True.
Our sales rep records a video and attaches that to the estimate. And so that way we still have the opportunity to get in front of the customer, look them in the face, and educate them on the services that we offer.
Okay, real quick, you mentioned video. How are they doing that? Is that Loom? How do they do the video?
We actually use Zoom. They record their screen on
I
Zoom.
See. Okay.
They upload it to YouTube, our Clearview YouTube channel, as a private video, and then we upload that link to our estimate.
Gotcha.
It's required on all quotes that come in over $2,000.
Okay.
And also for quotes where we're unable to reach the client. Then there has to be some sort of consultation. And if we can't directly talk to the customer, they have to see you. We want to put ourselves in front of them.
I know you're a Company Cam user now. You can do that in Company Cam.
Oh, I might have to switch to that. We are new Company Cam users. I will.
One of my favorite ways to begin the upselling process is to ask this question. How much do you know about what we do? How much do you know about gutters? How much do you know about exterior cleaning? How much do you know? How much do you know? And almost always the answer is, well, not very much. So what you just did is you just posture yourself as a professional. You posture them so they're humble. Now they're like, I know everything about this, but they just admit they don't. And then the follow-up question is, do you want me to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about what we do and how it's special?
Oh, that's great.
Yes. So now you're on the stage for about 60 to 90 seconds to explain whatever you want to explain. With the mindset that they're listening intently because they gave you permission to do that in the first place. And you're the professional. And so if you start upselling, that is like the springboard to upselling. I just love that approach because and here's the follow-up. If they say, well, I know a lot about it. I used to be in pressure washing for 15 years. Don't you want to know that before you start talking to them? Or say, well, yeah, my dad's done this, or whatever they say. If they said yes, now you can actually talk to them on a different level without finding out after the job is done, oh my gosh, they knew all along. You want to know that kind of stuff ahead of time. So I like to know what I'm working with before I start talking to people, because if they're experts, then I can say, oh great, then you know what SH is, and you know what oxidation. Oh yeah. And you can have this high level conversation. And I just love having that that stage set, knowing who I'm talking to.
It's interesting you say that, because that's also a psychological thing, a way of giving yourself the stage without, you know what I mean, asking for it essentially. You made the client ask you for it. And we say that all the time with the follow-up phone calls. I don't want our sales rep to say, I'm just following up to make sure you received the estimate, because they're going to say, got it, and then the phone call's over, right? Yeah. So you have to set them up what questions do you have regarding your estimate? What do you think about the price that, of the soft wash? Did you take a look at this? Did you watch the video by any chance? I pointed some, weak areas of your roof that might need to be looked at. So we also have them go into things that, for the trust building part of the follow-up. I identified when I was at your home that these windows, the seals might be broken. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Just, maybe you can look into it. You can offer services that you don't even offer as a company to build trust so that they know that you're looking out for them in their house. So that goes a long way too. But there's a lot of psychology that goes into having that conversation with the client. So it's less about price and more about knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, I want to swivel a little bit and talk about recurring services. This is a big one for me.
Yep.
So a lot of our listeners are offering services that are great options for recurring service, whether it's a house cleaning every week, or it's washing your house once a year, or for me, clean your gutters every 3 or 4 months. And so a lot of times people will call in for the one-time service. I just want you to come in and clean my gutters and cut my grass and do all this kind of stuff. And you can stop there. You can stop there and then go get a new lead and squeeze all the juice out of it you can. Or you can keep squeezing that lead and get all the juice out of it. And so what I mean by that is you can say, well, why don't we just come every year or every 6 months and make sure that we keep your house in great shape? How's that sound? That sounds great. And you don't have to slash the price. You can just make it just the same old price. But you get people locked in. You can do annual memberships. Do you guys do any of that kind of stuff? What do you think about that?
We do. We do it for window washing and we do it for gutter cleaning. Every client gets a gutter cleaning maintenance plan, whether they asked for it or not. Again, because they don't know, maybe they don't know that we are a gutter cleaning maintenance company. They look at us as window washing and power washing. So everybody is going to get a gutter cleaning maintenance quote. Clients who live on the beach, for example, which is a lot of our clients, we're on the coast, get, their windows really need to be maintained because of the salts in the air. So we always offer them a window washing maintenance plan twice a year. Once a year is in and out, and the other time is outside only, just to maintain the exterior of those windows. So what's interesting is we have had conversations with companies who have purchased other companies. Those companies will say, well, are you ready to sell? Or, where are you in terms of, and we're saying we're not ready to sell. We're not there yet. We're not even thinking about it. But then we always pick their brain. What would make us very valuable? What makes a company more valuable? And they always say the number one is recurring revenue. Number two is your net profits. Number one comes above number two. And it's because you have to have clients coming back without having to work for them.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one.
Yeah.
And then secondary would be the net profit thing.
I would say that one thing I've learned, and this was a big change for me. Annual memberships are so powerful. It locks them in for a year. They're not going anywhere. They prepay all up front. They pay for the whole year. Do you know how many people, I totally underestimated this, how many people love just stroking one big check and being done?
Yep.
And for those of people who cash flow isn't a problem for them, they love that. They don't want the every month charge. They don't want to have to worry about invoices. They just want to pay and be done. So, and then how great is that for us? We have the client locked in. We can plan accordingly. We have the money up front. It's awesome. And more than likely, they're going to become like really clients for life and good people who are referring your company, all that kind of stuff. So I think annual memberships is a form of recurring revenue, just so important for upselling.
Yeah, and it doesn't only have to be residential. So for any companies who are listening who offer commercial work, if a company asks us to wash a parking garage, for example, and it's, the first time we've worked with them and it's a one-time cleaning, they're not only getting pricing for a one-time cleaning, they're getting a 3-year price.
Absolutely.
So you should always, always, always incorporate maximizing the time and the relationship with that customer. A community was just built near us and we did the post-construction cleaning. They didn't only get a post-construction cleaning quote. They also got an annual maintenance plan, 3 to 5 years. So it's like if you've worked with us before or you're going to work with us before, you like us, nothing's gone wrong, we are going to do everything we can from the very beginning to keep this relationship going.
Yeah. Not always be closing, always be upselling.
Yes.
Christine, this is great. I'm going to try to summarize what we talked about in 3 steps here. Number 1 is always, always give your clients options and prices, even if they don't ask for it. Make sure that you're giving them all the options and the price so that you can get some upsells. Number 2 is educate on value. Why does it cost more? Why are you recommending this service? Make sure they understand the importance of what you're selling. And number 3, start with a small upsell. Make it easy for them to say yes. Start with a small one and then work your way up to the bigger one.
For us in exterior cleaning, cleaning 2 trash bins for $49 has been our best upsell. In 2023, we made close to $30,000 just in an additional trash bin cleaning. That most consumers didn't even know that we do. So it goes a long way.
That's awesome. Christine, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How do people find out more about you?
I'm at The Process CEO everywhere, social media, online, and you can follow our company, Clearview Washing.
Awesome. Well, I'm just inspired by you. I think that you treat your employees well. I think that you treat your clients well. I think you're setting a really good example in the marketplace. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. I hope you heard something today that will make your business more profitable and more efficient and help you sell more. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester. You can find me at adamsylvester.com. Your team and your clients deserve your very best. So go give it to them.